All right, now we get to the fun part. This is where I can tell you how to save the world.
The second part of our agreed conclusions is know that your story is important and that your message is important, and don't let anybody ever try to tell you how to tell your own story.
The internet has turned the world into a global village. We have more access to information than at any other point in human history. Media is more democratized than at any other point in human history. But still, somehow, among these billion websites and 3 million podcasts, this manages to be, for us, a double-edged sword. You are your first line of defense, you are your best advocate, and you know yourself better than anyone. And no one can ever take that away from you. You own that. So know that you own that, and hold on to that, and develop that, and guard it with your life.
It's a strange position to be the author of an anthology like this, because all of these experiences that are inspiring and moving, you don't own those experiences. They're not yours, they're someone else's. When these things started coming to me, I did not want to turn them away because I wanted to write a book that was truthful and honest. And that's not always easy to stomach. It was not easy to write. Compiling this book was absolutely beyond a life-changing experience for me, and a very humbling experience.
The thing that I did is that I found that women are not represented in the publishing industry as strongly as they could be. And the people running the companies did not see it as a commodity. They did not see women's voices as valuable. As I said, some of the women are like multi-award winning. They do have visibility, but a lot of them are unheard voices. And that was the point of the books, was to capture women that don't generally get featured because they're tucked away into remote parts of the world that few of us may ever travel to. I decided when I published these books that I was not going to allow any central person tell me how women's voices should be spoken.
Speakers who have done for decades work on CEDAW, and I'm very thrilled as I have had the pleasure of launching the Cities for CEDAW campaign initially back in 2013 with both of them and with Women's Intercultural Network. Given the polarization in the US right now, the political polarization, the fact that so many people mobilized for this in a bipartisan way is, breathtaking and inspiring, and is a breath of fresh air for the country, I think, and gives us a lot of hope. A term both of you mentioned is coalition building, and I want to stress that enough. Let's talk about some of our progress and accomplishments, and this particularly goes with the California Women's Agenda. California currently leads the country in the number of women in media and media owned by women, and this is extremely progressive for us. And that's just a good example. This is the kind of thing we need to do. We need to take back the media as women. And that's why we're all here today, and that's why we're all having this conversation. So that leads me to action steps. What do we do about this?
Their operating budget is generally not very big. So traveling to CSW to present in person for one of them without conference funding assistance or session funding assistance is very, very expensive and would probably take 50 to 75% of their annual budget. We can't wait around for others to solve problems that exist. The point of entrepreneurship and the push towards social entrepreneurship now is identifying these issues and being able to create business opportunities around. We are providing case studies and solutions, data, where this normally doesn't exist and where few bigger organizations will actually go.
So those ads migrated online also, and they were holding up our news institutions. What happened is the ads got cheaper, the news institutions lost revenue, and were no longer able to employ as many journalists. So they started publishing different types of content like opinion and commentary, which I'll get to in a moment. But the true definition of intelligence is forming a multifaceted view of something by looking at all different sides. In 2005, the term info snacking entered public consciousness. What info snacking means is when an information consumer skips from piece to piece of content, skimming off certain details, but not deep diving into the rest. It starts with English poet John Milton with his 1644 text Areopagitica, which is one of the first notions in Western society about free speech and ideas. The trend has been to write very emotionally charged headlines, so I try to look at publications that give me just the information, so that I'm not biased going into the story about how I'm supposed to feel about the story, that I can read something at face value and try to interpret it and understand it. And the goal is, if the federal government isn't going to get it done, we can get it done. At the state level, at the national level, at the global level,
we can get it done, and we are getting it done. So we are moving fast. If the federal government and if the new administration should choose not to move quickly, that's okay, because we're going to do this at the city level.
I want everybody in this event to realize that they are creating continuums with the work they're doing that younger activists will one day emulate and pick up. And I know at times it seems like you're not making a difference, but all of you are, really. The internet has been used as a weapon against women for far too long, and I think we've all seen that each emerging technology that comes about, because of the diversity of who's developing the technology, it's often not tested with our last girl theory in mind. And that last girl theory meaning we have to ask ourselves, how would this technology affect the last girl? This is your commitment going forward, to be really unwavering, courageous, and to give wholeheartedly to this cause. So the interesting part about what we've found is that just because someone uses a dating app does not necessarily mean that they are single and available.
Throughout life, no matter what you choose to do, you will be tested. Your values will be challenged, your beliefs will be challenged. Your beliefs might even change and reform. And if you don't know what your values are, you'll get pushed and pulled in every direction every time, because you won't be rooted and standing on your own 2 feet.
And I also want to congratulate all of you for being exactly on point and exactly on time. There's that old saying, I don't even know who came up with this, that, oh, women are always late. No, we're not. It's 7:28. In closing, I would encourage all of you to pay attention to your own info snacking behaviors and understand the information economics behind why you're making the decisions that you're making, why you're programmed to do the things you're doing now. And also to dive into what makes you curious, really. Don't skim the top of things, go deep. Give yourself time to really digest a concept and understand it.